We'll hone it as we go.
Yeah. I would like it right on me.
Oh, we can zoom right in on you, Julie.
I'm just kidding, I'm shy.
That's okay. See, I can make it zoom to the other people.
Oh, you can control it?
Yeah, I guess.
Yes, Sarah's going to be here. Can you,
Oh, he's not coming?
get open
Do you
house?
want one of these?
Yeah. No, I don't know where you come from. Did you get an agenda?
I did.
Well, I can swoop down from here to bring it here. Cause I got nothing.
Do you have to be the, well?
Yeah. this is done.
Okay.
Let's say for tonight. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm gonna put her in the middle.
Yeah. Stand over.
Just a reminder, this is the site.
Would you like my picture?
I'll see
I did get it.
And then it's like, yes, I know it's possible. I found something about time sense.
Julie, why don't you talk and see if I can hear you? It's a little quiet, but it's a little quiet.
Common sense isn't very common.
I heard that. That came through loud and clear. I guess for today. While we figure this out.
I don't know if we can do it without you.
Oh, that's okay. We'll try
Is
it.
that any bigger?
It's supposed to be.
My mom could probably do it.
That means you're not allowed to.
We're trying, we're not.
I'll make a PowerPoint. I do it at work, so. Oh, we have 6 people watching. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, you have it, no, do you have it on Facebook, YouTube, or what?
It's on
do you have it?
YouTube. We linked it through Facebook, so
Okay.
we did YouTube because
Oh, then I might
gonna have to get on
okay. Because if you do it on Facebook, if you don't have a Facebook account, you can't really watch it.
True. I love
So
that.
people, that was kind of one of the ideas, was do it to where we could actually, anybody can get it. Then it saves them.
Well, if everything's set up, check it out.
Yeah, I'm still like in from like last time. Really, I'm in here from November. Mine from December. Like it opened up the old tab?
Yeah.
So
You
nice.
said 6 people.
But mine's from November. Like I know I
Make sure you
know
talk
I
about
got
that.
It may not be perfect the first time. but
Oh.
We'll figure it out.
I didn't expect it ever to be perfect. It's awesome though. Is that just a camera or is it?
That's a camera.
Oh, okay.
I use it for work sometimes.
I guess I could do that. I just can't make it.
And I could do that. Kindly do
Oh, and there's a fire call.
I guess next time. I've gone on 3 in 24 hours, so I'm good.
Yeah, they just kept coming yesterday. And I was watching the boys, and I'm just like,
Okay, we're
I
gonna call
can't do
this meeting
anything.
to order. It is January 15th at 5:45. If we could have the roll call, please, Jared.
Konzak,
Yes.
Riddick,
Yes.
Olson. Yes, Gans.
Yes.
Jesus, how many times do I have to do that? Zimmer, Mr. Ketchum.
Pledge of allegiance, please, if you all stand.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to recognize the visitors tonight. Looks like we have no public comment. For all of you, we are now doing a live session of our meetings. So please be patient with us as we figure this out and learn how to do it. It looks like no one wants to speak, so it looks like we're gonna go on into a section 3 of approval of the revised agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the revised agenda for tonight?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Roll call, Jared?
Konzak,
Yes.
British,
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Okay, section 4 is a consent agenda. There's open session meeting minutes and executive session meeting minutes. Any questions on either one of those? And then to district bills. Looks like Bob changed the format a little bit more on this. So if you have any questions as you review it, if you haven't had a chance to already, let me know when you're done, or if you have questions. Okay. And then staff reimbursements and then we have the approval also in the section of the superintendent request to begin a new budget for our next school year. So within here, we need the approval and release of the open and close and executive session minutes, the bills, reimbursements, and then for Bob to start a new budget. Do we have an approval motion to approve the consent agenda items, please?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
British,
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Konzak.
Yes. Section 5, finance report. Everybody get a chance to take a look at that.
Just a few quick comments regarding the finance report. I'll go through it. Overall, we're in right where we should be as far as 50% through the school year. Obviously, a few funds that we're just kind of keeping an eye on, mainly Fund 20, operation and maintenance. We've taken on a few expenses regarding boiler that we're just trying to make sure it's doing well so far. And we want to continue to watch that, but that would be one I would track the closest this year. It's a little bit higher than normal, but it's because we've had some expenses come out of that account for our boiler.
And we're still waiting on a day for it to get put in.
Yes, so we have a day that it's going to put in. Tentatively, this is new as of a couple hours ago. Jeff and I talked a couple hours ago. And John Sales and Service will install the new burner unit on March 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which means, as I've kind of talked with you guys before, 4th and 5th, we would potentially have, not potentially, we would have to use as remote learning days because they'll have to completely shut the boiler off and get everything installed correctly. So
The Tuesday and Wednesday?
that would be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday's a holiday, but it's kind of Pulaski, but Tuesday, Wednesday would be remote learning days. So that's new today. These people don't even know that either, so.
Yeah, that's what we're like.
Is there a way to do it over Easter break instead? Are we in a time crunch?
That's,
Well, yeah, by March, typically the heating season's relatively towards the end. We want to get it installed as soon as the sooner the better, really. And so we'll use new learning days on the Tuesday, Wednesday, get it installed and running. So far, things have gone very well. Classrooms are doing very well, and knock on wood, hope they stay that way. That's kind of why we went down there, because I was afraid that I'd rather err on the side of caution than not. And it turned out that things have gone very well so far. So, there we go.
So do we need, like, what if it's nice out in March? You stay in school, will they change it?
They'll still have to, yeah, because they'll have to shut, everything's got to be shut, water, the HVAC, everything, yeah.
Alright. Any questions on any of the other financial report, or do we have a motion to approve the finance report?
A motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Konzak.
Yes.
British,
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Bob, superintendent report?
So we are on chapter 5 and 6 of the art of school boarding. As you know, we've done this for a while now. It's getting to be one of my favorite parts of the school board meeting is sharing what we have learned so far in reading this book. Very easy read and full of a lot of what I doing the most, just to bring practical type knowledge. A couple of things that stood out to me when I was reading this chapter is just the work that we did on building a code of conduct. There's already one that's kind of built in for us from the School Board Association, so we've kind of built off of that, and so I like what he had to say about that. But then also the parts of that code of conduct in italics, he put that basic common sense, or BCS, in italics. And so I thought that was a really nice touch to boil it down into layman's terms, so I think we can all understand. So that's kind of what stood out to me.
Well, you kind of stole my thunder there, Bob.
You stole mine.
We spent some time on our board code of conduct lately, and
Mhm.
I'm happy that we did so.
Yeah.
I felt like we're staying within the spirit of what chapter 5 was suggesting.
I failed to complete my homework for this month, so
Your fine will be in the mail, man.
yeah. So now I don't know if somebody missed last
I'm
time,
so
but it's,
glad.
it's Jared
I
and
missed the
Anna.
first time around.
I know. That's what I'm like. I looked at them like I totally forgot to
Okay,
do
we
that.
all
today,
have a
so,
life outside of our board life. So.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go a little more specific. I liked number 9, that it was talking about how it's important to remember to seek understanding from everyone. I think sometimes it's our human nature to kind of have like maybe preconceived ideas, and just remember that we are responsible to everyone that we represent here. So just to, keep that in mind as we're hearing from people and out in the community.
I didn't do as good as I should have, but I just now noticed this one sounds really good.
No, please.
I was so excited because I found one I like. It says, I will strive for a positive working relationship with the superintendent, respecting their authority to advise us and implement our policies and administer it for the district. So I jumped in front of Julie on that one. I hope that wasn't hers.
It wasn't.
Okay.
So chapter 6 is all about knowing the chain of command, and I know that in recent years, we've come up with a whole new flow chart for that. We have it, posted everywhere. It talks about redirecting people to the process and memorizing the chart so you know where to go first. So just kind of broke it down and reiterated that everybody follows the chain of command in all sorts of different places besides just Tonica. So it's a thing.
Thank you. The next item on my report deals with what's the RISE grant. And so this is a very exciting opportunity for us. I've invited LASTA Principal Courtney Klobuchar to join us tonight. She's not here yet, so I'm going to press pause on this part of my report. When she gets here, we'll come back to give her an opportunity to speak a little bit. Courtney has really taken the lead on this as far as applying for the grant and the ins and outs of the grant and what it can do, what it has done so far with that district. And so it holds some very exciting possibilities for us. And so rather than hear me kind of stumble around on my words and misquote something, I'm kind of press pause and let Courtney kind of speak a little bit to that.
Is she on her way?
She should be, yeah. As a matter of fact, I probably should get myself if she's trying to get a hold of me. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Holly is coaching tonight, so we're gonna skip number 7. We actually are gonna probably be back in a minute, and then we'll go through the discussion items for textbook adoption and renewal. If you guys want to open that one, Bob briefly went over it so I can start the conversation. It sounds like math was dug into by the entire teacher and para to look through switching it into math. I don't know, he thought maybe somebody could speak on that. Does anyone want to do so?
Well, I'll let Pam speak.
No, I don't need to.
If
You
you're
do it. We were at the same place.
Well, Amy and I have been using our current curriculum for, I think they adopted that when I was a para here.
Probably 11 years now.
At least, no, anyway, that doesn't matter. It's a long time. We really like it, but it's going extinct. They're not making it anymore.
Okay.
I know we were told that it doesn't meet the standards anymore, but it really hits the standards. So we were able to see what has replaced that, and we weren't overly impressed with that.
No, that was real math.
Yeah, and then, the one that we chose, we all did like a lot of components of it. I was able to see it actually taught in a 4th grade room in LaSalle. And sat with that teacher afterwards, and she was very, I mean, I could probably reach out to her at any time if I had questions. But it was similar-ish to what we have now, similar modules.
Not a huge jump.
Not a huge jump. And I really like that it had a lot of differentiation, just like ours does now. So, like now, like it's good to give a kid a test, and, what I do is I teach them all the same way. They get the same practice test, and then the next day, if I have a kiddo who maybe needs one that's a little bit lower than the rest of them, I can give them that one, and they don't even know the difference, that they're getting one that's a little bit easier. This also has that built in, and from my understanding, I do believe there is a lot more differentiation material available with it. So we'd be able to probably use a lot for RTI or differentiation within class.
As long as the, let me say this, I know it's funny, as long as everything is purchased. So there are, and we spoke to several of the teachers there in LaSalle, you know, they had all these extra things, but that curriculum isn't going to work the way we want it to work if we don't get those extra things with it. So it's purchasing the entire, not the shortened version of it.
This is everything.
I have no idea what was submitted to you.
Sounds like it was.
Yeah.
It should be the
We didn't get
digital,
to charge
the,
for-
The packets for everybody, because like currently, I have no workbooks for junior high. They do it all by hand. It's horrible, so.
Okay, so
Whoever
it's
did that
different
decision.
countries, so we just whatever what it was.
for math, you need,
Yeah, we definitely want,
you need hand to paper.
Yeah.
I really feel you
Yeah.
do.
Right,
I didn't get to go see Into Math, but I've been using some of their,
yes.
some of their work. I've been copying it, because they did send us,
Parts, yeah.
parts of it, some samples. So like I said, I didn't get to go see, I saw iReady, and wasn't overly impressed with that. But Into Math, it seems like it's a really nice workbook. So I've been using it, and I think it
Okay.
teaches really
I'm
well.
doing the same thing.
So tonight it's still just a discussion matter, Bob?
Correct. What I'm going to suggest, probably
Thank you.
in our next board meeting, I'm going to suggest that we press pause on the science renewals. We'll have a new administrator coming in, and they might want some input on working with,
I can tell you right now.
science curriculum and the teachers that might make sense for our students.
I should
And
be-
then we will move on with the adoption of Into Math.
Okay.
So we can just confirm it's got everything they want. I mean, it says
Correct.
all the stuff, but let's just make sure it's got
Yeah, so all the
whatever they
stuff,
want. 'cause-
meaning like manipulatives, like.
Yeah, if that's,
There was
Yeah, it says that, but
differentiation, ESL components,
And
all of that.
I don't know if it's included within a price, the lady did suggest for us to use it a bit first before doing they give you like like you spend an institute day usually, learning from somebody how to use it. She said, that's not useful. She said, use it a bit, then do that.
Okay.
And then
You know your questions.
you know, yeah. You're not overwhelmed.
I got a quick question, just from my own curiosity. So what we'll be doing next is, we're not
Who's the
approving,
question for?
Bob. So we're not approving the curriculum, we're approving the purchase. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make that clear.
If you, I mean, it is within our policies, I believe, that if we want to look at it, we could, but if we're comfortable with what they're doing,
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, I think you want to trust your staff,
Yeah.
that they've done their due diligence and selected a curriculum that fits the best.
Right.
I mean, they're the boots on the ground. I think that's who I would take the word from.
I wouldn't know what they're doing. I guess, so your decision is the 5 or the 6 year term for that.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of either a 5 or 6 year contract with H&H.
And then we're pausing on science until
Correct.
until the new one.
Correct. I mean, the next adoption, first textbook adoption, curriculum adoption would be ELA. in a while, and by that time we'll have new information and we'll do the same process. The staff will be a large part of that decision.
Do we want to do the strategic plan review now or get through these first?
Yeah, we can come back to that one.
Okay, just so we can get any motions we
Let's go
need.
to the discussion B, which is just, I gave you a draft copy of the school calendar as well as our board calendar for next year. Again, the school calendar is just a very, I would emphasize, rough draft. It's my color-coded copy, so it's really no different than our current calendar, other than just the reciprocal dates for those, for that calendar. And then the board calendar for next year, again, it's just the third Wednesday of every month, with the exception of the ones that are near or around the holidays. And so this is the discussion tonight, and we'll come back next month and have a vote on those 2 items for next time.
Yeah, it seemed like it bounced around more than I would thought.
With the board
Like
calendar,
July is like the 4th,
the board
Thursday, Wednesday. Yeah. November was the 2nd. Like it just seemed like it bounced around a little more, but
Well, I am trying to arrange it kind of where I'm in 2 different districts too, so that's.
okay. Yeah. And then I think at bottom it says last Wednesday. I think that's the lost in.
Yeah, so they're the
Portion.
last Wednesday.
Yeah. Ours is the second,
It's be the
third Wednesday. Yeah. So I think it just.
Yeah, so if you want to go down to new business and come back.
I guess on this
That's fine.
calendar,
Uh-huh.
does the county like give us a suggested calendar? Do we do anything to align with LP? Like,
Our school calendar?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I met with all of the feeder schools, meet with LP.
okay.
I would coordinate our calendars as far as our breaks.
Okay. That's what, yeah. I know sometimes it seems like they don't line up and I've never understood that. And
They should be pretty much the same now. When I
Yeah.
first started, they were a little off.
And I know like the end finals is different, so that stuff, but like
Yeah.
Typically
starting and breaks as long as
Yeah,
those are.
like your Christmas break, your spring break, those kind of things we try to coordinate because we obviously have, saying we share
Yeah.
families, that kind of stuff.
Okay, perfect.
And Lawson starts like 2 weeks before we do, I think.
I'm sorry.
Lawson starts like 2 weeks before us, I believe.
I think it's 2
I think
weeks
it's like-
before. We're generally around the same time as far as we start.
Maybe
A day or two
their summer
different somewhere.
school. right before
Yeah, they do
school
summer
starts.
school. Yeah,
I know some schools shift, like my wife's school shifted because they were doing work. So one year they started early so they could get done early, then they started
Yeah.
late so they could have more time to work
Right.
in that summer or whatever.
Some that have their spring break after Easter or before Easter, that typically changes the calendar a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna come back to strategic plan. We're gonna make our motions here first. So we're gonna go down to new business. So Bob, you wanna talk about the mowing rate increase?
Mowing rate increase. Currently Ray Goodwin does our mowing services in the summertime for a rate of $17.37. And for everything that Ray does, I think moving him up to $20 an hour is a very good deal for us and for him too. He does a wonderful amount of stuff for the district, and I don't have any problem with moving him up to $20 now.
No, I met with Ray recently, went through his shop and saw his items that he uses for mowing and snow plowing, and didn't realize all that he does, so I very much appreciate that. So, yeah, I don't disagree with the rate increase. A separate motion, can I have a motion to increase Ray's rate from $17.37 to $20 an hour?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Is that effective immediately or is that?
Starting this summer, yeah.
Okay.
Use a different rate for snow.
Right.
Rick,
Yes.
Olson, yes. Gans,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Tonzek.
Yes.
So the next one's a TGS principal. As you all know, at this point, we interviewed. We were blessed to have what I consider a very deep candidate pool. We had 6 people apply. We interviewed our top 4. The interviews went very well. Myself and Jennifer and Julie interviewed candidates, and we're blessed to have 4 really good candidates. I mean, we're happy with our turnout as far as the candidate pool. 2 of those candidates stood out among the 4. One of those candidates stood out even more amongst those 2. Tracy Malcolm is originally from this area, taught in the Oglesby area for a number of years. Moved with her husband's job, moved her to Arizona, and she currently works in a charter school there right now, and they are moving back to this area this summer, I suppose. We offered the position to Tracy, she's accepted, and talked a little bit with the staff about that, and I'm just very eager to get started with her, and she's eager to get started with the staff, and we're just very blessed to have somebody of her qualifications to serve as our principal. So with that reservation, I submit her name as being employed for our principal.
Can I have a motion to employ Mrs. Tracy Malcolm as principal at TGS starting with the 2025-2026 school year?
All motion was read.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Olson, yes. Gans,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Konzak,
Yes.
Riddick.
Yes.
Future agenda items. Bob and I think the only thing we ran across was, we have it on for February to finish up superintendent review and then to review summer school. So we're gonna wanna discuss that. Also, we talked with Bob about once we go through the strategic plan review tonight, we're not setting anything new tonight. Is that going forward, we'll have sort of a standing 5 o'clock timeframe to work on, whoever can make it, to work on the strategic planning after we review it tonight.
Monthly,
Before the board meeting.
before the board meetings. It's great.
So,
I mean, if you can make it,
if we can
great.
do that,
If you can't, then.
certain things we can work out, but yeah, then that way we're continuing to move on it. But tonight will just be a review of what we've done so far and where we're at with it. Is there anything else we need to add for future agenda items at this time? I do know buildings and grounds, there were some ideas for that hill, that is everyone's bane,
Out here in front?
yes.
Oh, okay.
That we can circle back when we go through the strategic plan for that. So we don't have any motions for 10, so we will go up. Yeah.
I have something for January, like a permission statement. Is that something that you still need to put somewhere else?
I think we can go through that as we go through strategic planning.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
You already have that written down for the,
No, but I mean, it's the first page of the strategic plan,
fine,
so
well, I'm just looking through my notes, so.
Yeah, everybody on the same page there?
I will write it down.
Yeah, okay. All right, so those of you with a computer or a phone, or if you'd like, if you go to the Tonica Grade School website, on there, Bob has put a flow chart, and I'm gonna go through, you also have your booklet that we have created. Mr. Schneider was instrumental, I believe, in creating this for us, so. But Bob has created under Tonica Grade School, if you go to resources, is it about?
Just about halfway
school board,
down the page, it says district strategic plan monitoring template.
Under school, out with school board.
Right, under that, when you click on that link, and it'll bring up the monitoring template.
If anybody's watching on the YouTube, I put the link in the chat.
Good job. Jill.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna share my screen, but I'm not sure what would happen, so.
One step at a time.
Yeah, exactly. We're just gonna baby steps.
So, yeah, strategic monitoring, so if you get it up, I have it up, I'm not always real good at this, I'm showing my age. So it says TGS strategic planning in different areas, area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4. All of it's on here also, but this just breaks it into sections. So goal, we have the mission statement, which we are going to review. But I think today we'll focus on our goals and objectives that we've started so far and done. So you're looking at the booklet, it's page 3. And so we'll start with that. So that should line up with our area plan number 1, right, Bob? Okay. So we're gonna go through this. Goal number 1, fostering relationships and enriching the whole child on a daily basis. So under there, it goes through objectives and then intended outcome. So efficient use of classroom time, and it was to create a K through 8 master's schedule. And then it shows that we met that we have created this. Stop me if I have if I'm saying anything wrong. So then it said, on ours, intended outcomes, student achievement of Ames Web 50% increase. And on Bob's flow chart, we are in progress or ongoing. Okay.
I think that we'll get more on that February or the next.
I'm hoping.
They're taking testing
Yeah, we'll.
early
benchmark
February.
by
We
then.
may not have it,
We're
but
doing it this week.
we're doing it. Okay, so we should have some idea. Okay, that's good.
So that's where if you could update it later, that, the progress on that. The ISB College and Career Readiness, that is, it says not met, in progress, ongoing. That is something I believe is being provided to us, is that correct? We won't go too much into that, but that is something that some of the high schools and IVCC are doing, and it'll come down to us, is my brief understanding of that. The junior high enrichment rotation, we are doing that. Incorporating social emotional learning, SEL activities, we are working on that. That's a current item. And it just goes through objective goal 2. So we'll go on to that. So on the sheets, it just goes through what we are doing to monitor that. There's a master schedule in place. We have benchmark reporting that is to be provided to us 3 times a year. ISB RAR summary is to be provided every November. And our school report card is reviewed in November, which we did do. And then RTI board reports are in progress. Goal 2, under student achievement and curriculum, form a technology committee on the building level. And we have done that. There it says intended outcomes or technology master plan. Do we need to speak on that, or? Okay, Scott, if you want to talk about anything. Identify funding sources for the Forum Technology Committee, tech curriculum plan, and then K-5 tech class resources, both have stated as met. Do we have a tech coordinator at this point?
Well,
Sort
we
of.
have a technology coach, Amy Graham.
And she kind of helps with like the
Mhm.
Google platform stuff and the resources.
Yeah, I kind of thought she was I thought she was
I
filling
thought
that
she
role.
was
So.
our tech coach, so we do have someone on site. How often is she here?
Gosh, twice a week, 3 times a week, some weeks.
To work with technology. Goal 3, updating curriculum. We talked about that tonight. ELA is coming up next. We're currently working to update math, and health and arts are going to be health. We have updated already. After we do math, it sounds like we're going to circle back to science and then go on to ELA. So these are in progress items. And sort of a brief conversation today. It sounds like social studies might be part of an ELA update potentially.
I don't think it's gonna take over. I mean, I think the curriculum helps.
We'll just have to see
See what it comes up with.
what
So.
resources are out there.
So the staff is working on that updated curriculum. The objectives here were from a curriculum committee, which is at building level, correct, Bob?
Correct.
And then link technology, career college readiness, which is an in progress activity. Board monitoring, committee recommendations, we just got some today to review, and then reports. So. Section 2, which is at tab at the bottom. And some things that we're working on. So after school programming, this is something that we continue to look into. We're reviewing again in February. We have to make sure if we do it, we've got money to do it. If we do it, is it helping our students? And do we have the staff that we need to have to do it? So in progress, ongoing. We will be having a conversation in February about it. and what we want, how we see it, and how the staff sees it probably from Bob. Interest survey for new clubs and intramurals. This was a big thing when we all met and did the strategic planning, was to get more people into the school. And I believe this had to do with, actually, this had to do with more clubs for the kids. So different clubs besides just our regular sports activities. I don't believe we've looked into this too much yet. We've been mainly focused on staffing and curriculum, I believe. So we will circle back to that and work on that some more this year. And then let's see, if we did more clubs and intramurals, how are we gonna pay for it? We've gotta figure that out, and staffing and stipends. So that is ongoing. When we had summer school, we did get a report on who participated and a tutoring report, so we'll see what we plan to do for the summer coming up. Goal 2 is summer programs.
Can I interrupt real quick? I'm sorry, Ben.
Feel free.
There's a line there under goal 1, it says additional contractual language stipends, but there's nothing to the left of it. What's that reference?
So I think that if we have more clubs and intramurals, how are we gonna?
Oh, is that the how we pay for? Okay, all right.
Yeah, how are we gonna get teachers to involved in that and the stipends involved in that? Goal 2, the summer programming, we gotta see if we wanna continue with the summer supports program and what that would look like. What the staff suggests, I believe, stop me if I'm wrong. The continue STEM camp and feasibility for additional summer programs. I'm gonna have to, this will probably start in February and we'll go from there. Goal 3 is similar thing, extracurricular programs. What more can we do? This one is basically going over qualified coaches and sponsors and increasing student interest. So this is mostly sport related. We do have a co-op joint committee. This is for the co-op, correct? Okay. So we do have a shared co-op with Loston, and we have a committee that decides on the coaches, the stipends, and the athletic director. I believe it is principal for Loston, principal for Tonica, and AP. So we do that as a collective group. And then we try and increase the student participation. Sarah, do you think there's more kids in athletics this year than there were last year? Have you noticed?
I think it's probably similar.
Similar?
Yeah.
It all also depends on how many kids we have in classes. So, and then one of the goals is to also continue to let the homeschoolers know that we have the sports available for them to utilize.
Have we gotten any homeschoolers to
Mhm.
participate? We have.
Bowling and classical.
I'd love to see more, but we do have some.
Yeah.
We'll go through, so the AD normally does give us a report on what's going on, what the coaching is, and what kind of fundraiser she's doing. She's coaching tonight. Some of the objectives are summer sport camps and things like that. So we continue to do a work in progress on that. Right now, I believe Lawson's doing an open gym on Sundays. So we appreciate that. Just so you know what's going on with that. Section 3, so page 5 is the school, the facility, the building. So recently we did a replacement of entry doors to increase the safety of the building. There was one door to the west that wasn't shutting all the way, and we have since taken care of that issue. Any since then on any doors?
Nothing, that's pretty good. The lock fell out of the front door, remember that, they fixed it though.
But it's been a while. I mean,
It's only happened once.
yeah, the doors are pretty good.
Well, it happened.
Okay, so there's a control access door, security cameras, we've got more security cameras to monitor building and grounds activity. That has come in handy. We've had maybe some roof activity that we want to minimize and remove. Upgraded phone system. We have updated our phone system. I don't know if you've called school lately, but it is updated. Have you found anything you really like about the updated phone system?
I really don't have anything to compare it to. So far, it's been fine. Very well.
Okay. And then go to general updates, so replacing a gym lighting, let's speak on, do you have that? We get some funding for that from grant.
Gym lighting,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all paid for by grant money and the rebates we got back from ComEd paid for a good chunk of it as well.
So we updated gym lighting without paying for it. That's a good plus. Upgraded the ball diamond. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's still in progress. What are we planning to do next with that?
Probably looking at some type of structure for dugouts. Last year we partnered with, I don't remember the name of the church, but yeah, they were fantastic to work with. We loosely talked about maybe this project coming up this spring/summer. And so if they want to do that, it's not really something I can count on them doing, but if they choose to partner with us again, that would be something that they could take on. If not, it would be something that we would do ourselves.
Okay. We've had wonderful community members help us out with that, and Ash Church and teachers and volunteers. So it's been very helpful to have that grounds updated. Goal 3, these are big things, so please keep that in mind when we review them. This is things that are considered, but not necessarily set in stone. So, for instance, relocation of main office and entrance, which would increase safety. A lot of schools are minimalizing their entryways, but that cost-wise, we have to look into that. I think it's something that we could consider, but not necessarily front and center of what we need to spend our funds on at this time. But again, we'll see. Health, life, safety is coming up in 2026. And my understanding of that is they'll tell us what we need to work on first.
Yeah, we would work with our architect and there would be a list of things that we would be out of compliance, and we would work with him on getting us in compliance. One thing that would kind of fit into that category is we've talked loosely about replacing our old boiler system.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have discussions about that in the future, but again, that's something that will be an upgrade potentially in the future.
So health, life, safety is keeping the building functional and safe for the students and staff and going forward.
So when in 2026 would we do that? Is that, they do that in the spring, so it's before budgeting? Okay. All right, so it's like a year from now, roughly?
Mhm.
Okay.
And our current fund paid off before then?
Oh, gosh,
Sorry to put you on the spot, but I believe it will be.
I don't recall at this point.
I think
You
it will.
might be right.
Science and STEM learning spaces, to increase better instruction. We have a new science teacher that's come on board, so we're working on that. We're gonna circle back with that and with the new principal coming on board. So it is something that we need to decide to do with our science room. Window replacement, if we ever want to switch to AC, that is a requirement before we can even consider doing that, and that is something we need to identify some funding sources on. So, just so you know, we don't currently have AC, so if anybody has a foundation, they would like to help us with window replacement.
Do we, like, if I put windows on an old house, like you get a tax break, but we don't really pay taxes like everybody else, so
No.
does the state offer
We
any?
would potentially, like, for example, the lights we did in the gym, we get ComEd, get some rebate money
Okay.
back. We would maybe capture some
Gotcha.
of it that way.
Okay.
Through our energy output,
Or that grant we did this year, like that would be,
like the maintenance grant,
yeah, would that be something you could put towards, or is that too big a
Well-
project for something like that?
it's not enough money to pay for it.
Yeah, no,
Well,
But
we
it
talked about
compared,
Better than nothing, though, so.
Yeah,
it coupled with several
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah. because that was 50,000, right?
Yeah.
With the matching 50,
Right, 50.
so it potentially could be a start, but
Yeah.
if we
But I
want to do
mean,
solar. we'd
my
have to do
conversations with our architect about windows is, 100,000 is not even gonna cut it
Yeah.
for a window.
A window?
So we're talking about a multi-million-dollar project that is a little bit ahead in our future.
I did talk to said architect one time, he said it is, like, it's their job to remind us to be realistic, but
Mhm.
also we need to be realistic with keeping the building going. So two realistic sides, you need to probably have a conversation.
But I think there's some, it's like dominoes, there's a few things ahead of that we can put into place. For example, like I said, we talked about replacing our boiler with a system that could be outfitted in the future to add air. Normally, that's all of that one that it wants, but we can purchase one that will replace that later on, if we wanted to add air, for example, when we get to the point where we get windows, you'd have to have windows and have an airtight space to have air, otherwise you're just kind of throwing money out the window. So there's a few things that need to take place first before we go to.
So we should probably have our steps in place and figured out. So that's the thing we need to put on the forefront is knowing what those steps are so that we can be ahead of them and ready for, okay, if we have to do this, let's do this at the same time. One of the wants is stage upgrades for that gym over there, like certain sound. That is probably gonna be, not, I don't know. It'll have to be a group decision on how we spend money towards that and what is needed. I don't think we've looked into it yet, to be honest with you.
How often do we use it? Do we ever put plays like?
I mean, I sang on the stage once.
We don't use it real.
I mean, that was maybe a couple years ago, but.
Maybe.
We don't,
Steal my thunder on that. Do they do plays still?
If you wanna do clubs, you
Yeah, well, I mean, that's fine. Like, but if we don't use it at all, then it's like, well, is it really worth it? But if there's opportunity, then yeah, I don't want to tell anybody no. So
does Sam, is that like a separate credential for performing arts, or does like a music person typically step in and do things like that
I
from
think
time
we
to
get a
time?
volunteer. I
Or do you
mean,
look for volunteer people to do
I
that?
know a director at Stage 212, but I don't know if she, you have kids, somebody come and run it, and enough kids to do it.
It would be cool.
we're like the Christmas program, right? We do it in the gym now, but like if you have the facilities, you could do it there.
I guess that'd probably be
It's,
if staff and students are interested.
I would say you get the play going first and then if it's a go,
Right.
then you start adding things to it,
Yeah, oh,
like new microphones and new lighting and.
Sam directs at a lot of local theaters.
Is she really?
She does,
Yeah,
What?
Station 12.
She- Yeah.
What's on the street or?
So I guess if there's interest, let us know. Otherwise, we're probably focused maybe in different directions. Section 4, right? Okay, district finances. Use available funds efficiently while addressing the facility plan items. Bob has been wonderful in keeping us, not getting too far ahead of ourselves and making sure we're spending our money wisely. And keeping the district solvent, so keep the tax rate as consistent as possible. He's been really good with that. So we're not asking for any more money, right? You wanna not put that in the best way possible, so I'm not saying it wrong.
Well, we just want to make sure we're good stewards of the taxpayers' money. We do have an aging facility and we keep an eye on maintaining it, up to date as we can facility that meets code and that's is safe for students and for teachers as well.
And then building the O&M fund and minimize issuing bonds. So we just talked about health, life, safety and roofs and windows and the whole idea is to invest our money wisely so we can lessen the need for a bond and not pay that interest rate and get paid an interest rate instead. So Bob's been really good at investing and working with Illini on earning some interest when the interest rates have been high. So we appreciate that. Goal 2, financial planning. It says create a superintendent finance committee. We have done that where we've sat down with Bob and gone over costs of things and where our finances are. So we just talked about that, how well he's been doing with getting a good interest in working with Illini. We do have some funds in the Illinois state funds also, which is getting a good rate. And then develop a 3 to 5 year financial plan. I think that'll come as we build on our strategic planning going forward, so that's an always ongoing item. At one point, we talked about hiring a consultant, but I believe you found a program that,
Well, we would work with ISB. ISB has financial consultants that each region has a region financial consultant. And that's a free resource, and they will help us, whatever we need to do, whether it's financial forecasting or budgeting or with the tax levy process, they would help, and that's what I would do, is tap into that person. Just telling what we're looking for and having kind of help guide me.
so publicly, our previous superintendent and Bob have worked very hard to make sure that we do have money, that we are in good financial standing. There are some schools that have astronomical balances. That's not something we're going to see. We're not one of 19 schools. We're not a huge suburb. So Bob keeps us on target with our money and then works with ISB to make sure that we continue to spend wisely and keep our money in good position. So
Well, I think the state's pushing back on that because there's
we're gonna have to spend.
he had to do that report because you can't have more than 2.5 times. And
Yeah.
I know last spring there was somebody that proposed an even shorter schedule, like 9 months worth of money, which seems a little extreme, but the state is
That's a
definitely,
little scary, yeah.
yeah, but it was
Being our
discussed.
size is that we don't have those huge,
Yeah.
and we have good financial stewards of the money. We're not hoarding money or anything like that in bigger districts, sometimes the mass have done.
Yeah.
Which is why that rule got put into place because of that.
Yeah, you're finding a balance in your funds. Thank you, Courtney, we're moving along so we can get started. Goal 3, grants, so we talked about this, continue to apply for ISB grants. Bob's doing a great job with the grants that we are able to get. And the maintenance grant has been maximizing that. I don't think there's any issues with making, one of our board items was if we have access to 50,000, spend 50,000 and $1. Like, don't leave anything on the table. So make sure we get as much as we can out of our grant money. And then we have considered a grant writer for non-ISB opportunities. That'll be giving us some other stuff that Bob is, Courtney is gonna talk about potentially. So it's out there, you can hire, there's NCI Council of Governments and stuff that do grant writing, we haven't had to use them yet. And then section 5, so.
When you say we haven't had to use them yet, have we seriously talked about trying to, find out what these people cost? Are we willing to just jump in and see what they can find us?
Well, not yet, because we haven't kind of picked the focus yet, I think, have we?
I mean, there's grants available for everything under the sun. I think
There's rural ones and some other ones, yeah.
I'd be curious to know, what these people cost and what potentially we'd be able to get,
I could check with Al. I know the fire department's used some grant writers in the past, but it might be the same, like it's through the state kind of thing.
I
But
think the village has also used grants.
there's also, I know a couple years ago, like IV did like a grant writer training that I thought about going to, but there's opportunities, like I say, but it
People
probably
who specialize in certain, they specialize in K through 12 grant writing. So, these people know
Well,
the landscape. of
maybe
what's
that's,
available.
maybe we can get one in front of us this year.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I'd just like to know what's available.
or maybe the
We've
ROE.
been looking to get one in front of us, Bob.
Does the ROE have any resources in that space, like where they would,
Typically
not for grants? Okay.
not specifically for that, but they might be able to point you in the right direction.
The ones I've seen, they go out, they get the grant money, and then they reallocate it out to you.
Yeah.
Is usually, and that's, so yeah, maybe we can discuss options on getting somebody in front of us to see what we can do. Yeah,
Did you know Maxie at all? He put me in contact with somebody a couple of years ago, and this was a discussion about community college stuff, but he was a guy, again, who, just kind of an independent consultant kind of a guy, but he specialized in education, and he just.
He's ISB's finance guy now.
Right. He was our VP for finance for a while. He's a great guy.
Fantastic. Yeah.
and I think it's a lot of stuff that you have to, I'm sure it's pretty dry and inputting stuff, so there's.
Oh, it's unbelievable amounts of mindless
Yeah.
paperwork and bureaucratic stuff. And that's what these people specialize
That's
in,
what
just
they
they
do,
know that world.
Yeah, maybe we can get some conversations in front of us. So section 5, district and community relations, so we definitely won't let that drop.
Cool.
Okay. Create and share a narrative. So we started live streaming and we're reviewing the strategic plan. So we're working on that. We want to continue to share it. It's on our website. Bob's going to do some updates after today and we'll keep doing that as we go forward. The board identified teller of the narrative and key collaboration person, which next to it says communications booklet. So I believe this is ongoing, but this is our strategic plan booklet and we'll update it as we go along. Maintain ongoing collaboration with the village and local entities. And then the real estate trifold about the district. I did talk to a realtor that lives in town that is willing to work with me on creating sort of a district pamphlet that can be provided to community members at the post office, at the bank, at Casey's, if you're looking to live in Star Rock country as you're driving through with your camper, we can make it available, so it's there. I can track the traffic that drives past, I'm telling you. So the village is gonna have some switches, some changes over in who's there. We plan to reach out to them and get on board with them. And then the trifold, I was just kind of waiting for us to get some things we can put in there, so we can start getting with that. And maybe she'll come and meet with us and show us what she's been doing with her real estate trifold.
Who?
It's Andrea Greenwald, actually, from Janko. Okay. She's up in the subdivision. Develop opportunities for community engagement with the school. So this is ongoing. So the school board, the village board subcommittee. We want to meet with the new village once they get situated, and maybe we can set up a village to school communication. Community garden is on here. Actually, our recently hired principal is very adamant about tomatoes. Apparently in Arizona, they are not great. So she did mention a community garden and using the whole school. So we'll leave that to you guys and see what we can do to help. We'll see what comes of that. Explore adult classes, IVCC partnership. That's something we need to consider some more and probably get some input on from the community and what they see.
Yeah, I saw they sent a pamphlet out and they had some stuff at the schools in Oglesby. So
Did they?
yeah.
I usually look at what they have, like their miscellaneous stuff. I didn't realize they had something else.
Yeah.
Check it out. There's no reason we can't see if they want to do some here.
Yeah, I think it was like a dance class and something else, but I mean just something to do. So
You said your Tracy doesn't do the yoga?
Tracy does yoga.
Your Tracy does do the yoga?
Oh, she does the yoga.
The IVCC?
Oh, no, she doesn't do IVCs. I mean, she knows what she's doing.
she can put on
She
her
probably
own,
teaches the class.
she can put her own yoga on.
Put her own
Yeah.
yoga. Okay. I need some yoga. Okay. So community strategic plan reviews, we're doing that now. And what can we do to work with the town? What can we do to work with the community members? Yearly family event nights. We've been doing backpack. What else?
Movie.
Movie
Fun.
night. So a lot of activities. Foundation has done a lot for us recently, including, are you dissecting something or?
Yeah, we got we got you frogs or something, right?
Oh, dissecting, I'm sorry.
Dissecting frogs?
I heard you say sending, and I was
No,
like, yes, we got frogs and we got little lizards. 8th grade did the frogs already, and they're working on the lizards right now. Then we'll do 7. We started with those, but still.
Yeah, and I know that
Okay, so-
they discussed in the last meeting, we talked, like we were doing some of the grants and we talked about a 3D printer maybe for this tech space when it comes up. It has been ordered.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
So I know we were looking at them and
That's
gonna
amazing.
benchmark to see what IV or see what LP had to stay in line with them. But yeah, that'll be cool for them to use. So
Good, okay. On back backpack night, we talked about that, and movie night. PTC did I think they're becoming, well, it's not necessarily PT, I'm gonna call it PTC, but more with the Tonica Fest,
Oh, yeah, and the breakfast.
breakfast, yeah. Okay. Collaboration with booster groups on fundraising. Not really, I think that's just in general to work together on fundraising. The district newsletter is kind of like that real estate trifold. Actually, Holly's been doing a district newsletter. We haven't, I don't know if we posted it on social media at all, any of her monthly ones. She's been providing us with a monthly one, which is kind of like the start of a district newsletter, which is the start of the real estate.
Are you talking about the Google slideshow?
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
a slides that
Oh,
we'll
yeah, we
get.
put them in there, the teachers do it.
Yeah, but does it go on Facebook? I don't know that I've
I
seen it.
don't think I put it on.
She doesn't give it to you to put on Facebook.
Okay.
I don't think I have put it on Facebook.
So that's a work in
I
progress.
don't even know if, somebody would have to, they'd have to give me
Yeah.
rights to download it and
Okay, well, that's a work in progress. And then expand and promote social media presence and website presence. And we definitely want to give a shout out to Miss Moretta for all that she does and everything she posts. We very much appreciate that.
thank you.
And the community notices a lot. That I think is pretty much, so that is a review. That is not a going, that is a review on where we're at right now. We're gonna start with reviewing the mission statement. And it sounds like we basically want to rehash the whole thing.
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah, to some degree.
So that 5 o'clock thing, is that just for us or is that anybody can come? Okay. No, that's fine. I was just curious. I mean, I think it's fair to ask. Yeah, I mean, if people have input
So
or,
we can, I couldn't hear them.
yeah, I believe you, yeah, you can come for that if you want to come and give us ideas. Or if you can't make it, you can send us ideas ahead of time. or-
Planning is open to the public. We'll start before each month's board meeting. We'll start at 5, whoever can come. And we'll start taking a look at how this is good, but let's see where we want to go forward. We start with that mission statement that's behind you. Is that, we've had some conversation on this and I hate to put you on the spot, but Jared, would you say? Would you
There's
want to
just
say
one-
anything?
There's one thing that's always kind of bugged me about it, and maybe I'm not an English teacher, but the way that it's structured seems a little odd to me.
You should put it in ChatGPT.
A little bit of a run-on.
So the comma in there, right? So to me, it either there should be something further after the end of the sentence, like and
Yeah,
something
I
else,
see what you're saying.
or you get rid of the comma and you put just an and in there. Otherwise, it's not a sentence, or it's a very odd.
And
It's a very odd
I think it
sentence.
should just have and in it. So
Yeah.
scratch
Scratch the comma and just put an and in there. And
if that's what you want,
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
I know it
Scratch
seems a little petty, but you know, we're
That's all
school.
right.
I think it's too long personally.
Yeah,
I know Jared had a thought on it in our other meeting that we can't
So I think
re-
that's-
rehash here.
Oh,
But
it's good to just go back over it.
So we're gonna work on that, and then the rest of this.
Okay.
So thank you all for putting up with this while we're going through that. We are now gonna go back to section 6 superintendent reports B, the RISE grant, so we can speak about that.
So again, the RISE grant is something new, but I'm kind of learning more about it. I've learned from Ocean, she's kind of taking the lead on this in their district. So I'm gonna let her kind of take some time and just kind of give us a little bit of a snippet of information regarding the RISE grant.
Sure. So over the summer, I looked into how to acquire some technology to be used for any type of asynchronous or synchronous learning classes. And I looked at math, I looked at Spanish. Anyways, long story short, I came across this RISE grant. It's through a company called One Room Classroom. They call it the RISE program. I think those One Room Classroom and RISE are kind of interchangeable. Working with a representative from that company, I've learned that they are here to help essentially facilitate small schools to acquire the technology needed for instruction, especially small rural schools, and they can help to connect us with outside larger schools to deliver the instruction virtually. So from there,
I did a little more research and learned that Streeter St. Michael applied for this grant probably, she said 3-4 years ago, and they partner with Streeter High School for their math instruction to offer high school math. Started talking with the lady from Rise a little bit further. She said, oh, well, you know what, IVCC's partnered with Putnam County High School and the South Grove Township High School to get this grant. Well, that's interesting. They want to bring in more community college-based classes to get those dual credits at the high school level. All right, so a little bit further down the journey, I'm like, I'm still not quite understanding what's happening here. So essentially, what happens is the RISE program helps you to partner and connect with other schools within the state. They have one school be the fiscal agent, meaning that they're gonna take the helm of, say, 6 other schools to help write a grant to get the technology through the USDA. So RISE helps to support those schools acquire the grant money to essentially fund the technology. They're kind of like a middleman. They're there to help support you. And then what they'll do is once you are approved for this grant, they'll also support your staff with the resources that you need in order to do the virtual instruction. They can help hook you up with other schools that may say, hey, we're gonna offer Algebra 1 this semester. Do you have any students that need that type of instruction, etc. So with the grant process itself, IDCC was the fiscal agent for a few other high schools. And what that essentially means is, I envision it's kind of like a cohort. You're gonna enter into this cohort with other schools. And everybody's out there for the same thing. Everybody wants the technology to do the synchronous learning. And you're writing the grant together because they give out like millions of dollars at one time, and then you essentially divvy it up for however much you might need. And so further along the lines, currently Boston School partners with Illinois Virtual School, or IVSA, and they're out of Lake County ROE. No, it's not Lake County. I think it's just Lake ROE. They call it Lake ROE. So we've had this sort of partnership for many years to where we get virtual instruction from them. And IVSA now wants in on this grant. So long story short, IVSA is going to be the fiscal agent for this grant writing piece.
What's IDSA? Sorry.
That's the Illinois Virtual School.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we have some students online because we can't bus them to LP. Some might go to PC. PC offers different math classes. It gets kind of weird and wonky, but we can offer them algebra online. But now what's missing is that sort of face-to-face interaction. So a lot of parents are wanting that face-to-face, which IDSA can do. So long story short, I've entered into this cohort essentially to get the technology that we would need to essentially upgrade and improve what we have to provide virtual instruction. And currently, if Tonica was to join, there would be 7 schools in our cohort. So essentially what you're doing is you're just making a group to write the grant. RISE hooks you up with a grant writer. That fee is $8,900. That fee is then split between the 7 schools within the cohort. So that's like around $1,600, maybe give or take $1,400-ish. So for $1,500, let's go with that, let's go on the higher side. We would work with the grant writer, tell them what type of equipment we need. Currently, RISE sets up 3 different types of technology solutions. There's something called a permanent room. There's a mobile solution where you'd have 2 monitors that can be wheeled around. They include all the speakers and microphones that would be needed to set up a classroom like this with the 360 camera, so that way it has the tracking and all of that. So as the teacher's standing up saying street or giving instruction, the students can, basically they're like sitting in the classroom. And then they have a huddle solution, which you don't quite understand that one. I think it's just like one little monitor that
can be either mounted to a wall or pushed around on the cart. All three solutions vary in cost. And what the RISE grant does is it will cover 85% of the technology grant, so the school would be responsible for the 15% match. For example, the permanent room solution, which is what PC and LP and IDCC have currently been installing, is around $6,500. And out of the district pocket, it would be about $10,000 or less when all is said and done. A mobile solution is what I would suggest and recommend for schools our size. A mobile solution can be used in a variety of ways, so you're not fixed to just one space. And that's $47,000, sorry. So with a 15% match, it'd be about $7,000 out of the district pocket to set up this virtual classroom. A huddle piece of equipment is around $17,000 to $19,000. 15% match would cost the school about $2,500 to $2,800 out of pocket costs. So
Is that per year?
So that's a very good question. So the RISE program then is, the way it works is, okay, we're gonna join this cohort to write the grant. We would pay IDSA our money. They're gonna be the money people. They're gonna make sure people get paid and have all the necessary financial pieces. Then what you would do is decide what type of solution you wanna go with, what type of equipment. Now, in the grant writer would work with you to say, okay, what does your infrastructure look like? How about wiring? What is your, what type of Wi-Fi do you have? They recommend fiber versus broadband, yeah, whatever. So every single thing down to say like a switch plate that you might need to put on to the wall, you would write into this grant because you want to be as detailed as possible. Then from there, the tech writer does his magic, and then almost always Courtney Mullen is her name, she's from the RISE program. People get it, people get the grant. Then what RISE does is it helps to facilitate the install, the setup support, any type of training that you might need, and the grant is good for 3 years. So what's written into here is only a one-time fee, and you're gonna get all the technology and the RISE program support for 3 years. Then after that 3 years, if USDA offers this grant again, you're more than welcome to join in a cohort and write it again, maybe get more technology, upgrades, etc. So it can be kind of like rolling from year to, or 3 years, every 3 years. Now, let's say after 3 years, you're like, yeah, all right, we used it, we got our use out of it, and we may continue it. I don't know, we don't know how it's going. You keep the technology. You're not out on anything. The only thing that you would have to do is if you wanted to stay with the RISE program, they have like a $1,500 yearly fee. So what that would cover is your tech support, any installation support you might need, and the platform that's used for virtual instruction. I think it's some fancy type of Zoom program that's used. Now, that being said, the grant, when anytime you write a grant, there's other things that go along with it. There are letters of support that would be needed to be written stating why your school would need this type of technology to support instruction. It can be from board members, it can be from students, it can be from community members. You could even open it up to community members. I think, Matt, you had mentioned something about IVCC classes, was it, or adult education? Like you can offer an adult education course here at the school that's connected with IVCC, you know, like maybe it's cooking. The possibilities are endless, and I think we're sort of at the beginning stages to where a lot of schools are like, this sounds really good, let's get this technology in here.
Is that why IDSA is the fiscal agent, so that you can plug into like LP, you can plug into IDCC, you can?
So that's a good question, because They really don't, they're not doing anything fancy other being our person that we go to pay. So like, they're gonna be the financial directors of the people in the grant.
They're gonna try to attract you to take your courses from them versus LP or Streeter or.
And I think that could be why, but I don't necessarily think that's why. So IVSA has only been online and they've always used platforms like Admentum or, what's the other one? Admentum.
There is online.
Yeah, that we used them during COVID. Oh gosh. Anyway, the platforms that you would deliver instruction.
Right.
No face to face.
Does Lawson have like a idea on what they plan to use it for?
Well, we'll continue to use it for virtual instruction.
You have it now.
So currently, we are getting virtual instruction through IVSA. And this is something new that they're doing. And on a side note, they're getting some type of a grant with U of I to help defray the costs of asynchronous classes. So they kind of have a package deal now. If you want a live teacher for 5 days a week, you're gonna pay $5,000 in addition to your course fees. You want a live instructor for 2 days a week, you're gonna pay $2,400 in addition to course fees and so on. IVSA is hoping to eventually roll in their virtual instruction and course fees into all one lump sum, because when you take a virtual class, like say as a middle schooler, with an accredited ISB provider, you can request course reimbursement. So for example, we have 2 students, say it's gonna cost $1,200 for courses online. At the beginning of the school year, I say, I'm gonna apply for this course reimbursement. At the end of the school year, I just provide how much I paid in tuition, how many students completed the course, their transcripts, and we get a check back from them. It's really that easy. So IVSA is trying to make it an all one lump sum because you can't get reimbursed for the virtual instruction right now. So I think there's a little caveat, like IVSA is probably got an angle going where if we can get all these schools in, we can maybe push our needs or connect with the districts through the RISE program, but I don't believe that that's their intentions right now to like solicit other schools.
Is this only for, say, middle school students to be taking like dual credit courses with other high schools or through IDSA or something like that? Is it?
So that's, yes, so.
These are courses that we would not be able to offer here.
Correct,
Okay.
because you can't teach high school math there if you don't have high school indoors math teachers. So that's kind of where you come into that situation and students are bused to LP. Now, in an ideal world, I would love for LP to be like, well, I've got a virtual math instructor for third period, here are your times. And our kids can hop on, because they're gonna have a virtual classroom that's gonna be just like what we'll have. So it should be a pretty seamless experience. Now, with with course credit, I have learned if a law student takes an algebra class online, high school level, those credits will transfer to LP, and they would start in, say, geometry, just the same course that the 8th graders take now. I've had students take geometry. So then, again, LP would accept those course credits, and then that student would start with algebra 2, so on and so forth.
So as you see, it has a really big upside for little schools like us that sometimes, even with the teacher shortage, there's, if we can't find a candidate, this is potentially a viable option. We currently bus students to the high school for high school math. This is a nice option that's got some potential. So I do plan on writing for the grant and looking into it, because I think it's something that would benefit us and our students. And so just I appreciate Courtney coming tonight.
Well, thank you. Sure. Are there any questions? I know it's kind of a lot to follow along with.
Is there a website or something you can send us a link to?
So I'm glad you brought that up.
He's got a
I didn't
slideshow.
find one that I thought was pertinent to just tonight.
Okay.
And I'll send, if Courtney sends me the link, I'll send it out.
Yeah, just something to peruse. Like I don't poke around.
Courtney Mullen sent you the slideshow. that you could forward?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you
okay.
have all that info.
Okay.
And then I guess with that, a bunch of our teachers are here. Like, could we ask them to brainstorm ideas? Because like I've come up with like 3 or 4 just as she was talking
Right.
of things where it's like it's not even necessarily a class, but if you have that technology, you could like log it like all sorts of places, right? Like NASA puts on like a thing where you talk to somebody, or like there's all sorts of stuff you could do.
I don't want to discount a present teacher, but
No, but-
ideas like that would be.
But for like a program, like for algebra, I get it. Like that's fine.
I think it's gonna be one of those things where you start small and kind of grow it a little bit. Maybe we start with algebra, but there might be applications where like a science class comes in and does something kind of thing.
Yeah, just do a one thing. Yeah, like a 2-hour program.
And some of those resources might roll out to us as this thing unfolds. And we'll be new to it. So
If they get us an owl, we'll put it in the middle for our board meetings. 'Cause those things are sweet, but they're like $2,000.
I hesitate to take away from physical in-person algebra as long as we can continue to pay for it. Because I think being at that school is a leg up personally.
Yeah, I get that. I think for
Options would be good.
alternate option, like for extra activities, if
Yes.
somebody, like I said, if somebody wants to learn Spanish early,
I would love to learn Spanish.
like you could do an adult program.
Yeah,
I'll send my wife.
Oh,
My,
yeah, you could do that in adult.
we're not opposed, I think.
I've got an 8th grader right now who's taking algebra at LP.
Yeah.
And like, I was always a big proponent of trying to get algebra here if we could. We could get somebody credentialed and teach algebra here. I really, really wanted to do that. But if I had to choose for my student between the in-person algebra course over at the high school right now and a kind of a virtual classroom, for him, going over there has been an absolute dream. You know, it's helped him acclimate himself to a scary new high school environment, and he gets in-person instruction, which he absolutely needs. And in a virtual setting, he would not do well at all. And I'm also, I think I share a little bit of that apprehension. This technology is fantastic, and it would open up all kinds of opportunities for us to get instruction that we otherwise wouldn't be able to access ever. But it does, in a way, sort of open the door to all kinds of other possibilities when it's once we've got this stuff here, when it's convenient or efficient, and we say if you don't have a teacher on hand to do something, and once we find out, we can do it cheaper by outsourcing it to some faceless instruction coming through the internet tubes. I know I sound like an oldster here, but I worry that down the road we start rationalizing distance learning in place of face-to-face instruction, and I don't want to do that.
I feel like a board policy we could
I think we're pretty far away from that.
No, we're opening the door.
Well, but
I mean,
I'm
not saying no at all. I would
And
embrace this.
it would be a real person, and then let's say, whatever curriculum they might use, for example, they use Houghton Mifflin as a text or consumable. That would be something that the school would have to purchase, because it'd be like, okay, today's Wednesday, we're on page 54 of our textbook, and they would open it up and go to that. Yes, I'm sure there would be some digital formats, like maybe in a Google Classroom. I know some of our students right now have a Google Classroom that they work through for the math. And I think there's also another component to this that we have to think about, and I'm thinking about more and more now too, is almost all college coursework is being offered virtually now. And sometimes students now need to learn those self-pacing skills and executive functioning skills to be successful in a virtual platform. So there's that too, so that way they're like, oh,
There's happy medium, obviously.
yeah, and I think that having at least somebody real time is better than nobody.
So when you have these children online, is there somebody that's monitoring them while they're in the classroom doing that Zoom?
Yes,
I think that's probably a local decision.
yeah, and you can, I mean, you can have probably a para sit in the classroom, like if you have 5 or 6 kids, obviously you want to make sure that they're paying attention and being decent little citizens in the classroom, but thankfully whoever's instructing can also see everything that they're doing, like you need to sit down or you need to or the mics are all live in the classrooms.
So like LP does, you said LP's they're working on getting into it. Like, would they teach the algebra class that we would listen to?
Essentially.
It's.
Like, could you go like twice, send a kid twice a week so you get a little in person?
Discussions that we would have to have with LP as to how that looks like in LP and when it would be offered and all those kind of things that would have to be decided. They haven't got their classroom up and running yet. They have I think they're in the process of building it right now. I think that we have the infrastructure of the classroom.
So we're hearing interest, but apprehension.
Humans both.
I would like to see it go, like I would like to go.
I
and
would
see it
too,
somewhere.
but I think that it's at like such an infant stage that everybody's like, okay, well, we're gonna get some great technology out of this, if anything. It's a good opportunity that I think you might not wanna miss out on, because I don't know how often it's gonna be offered. Hopefully more often, because if we're moving in those directions. I think that LP still isn't quite sure what they're doing with it and are gonna learn along the way, because here's a timeline of how this would roll out. There's a very short window for the grant writing piece. So I think that closes in March, I wanna say. It opens like Friday and closes in March. All that has to go through, you're not looking at like an install or actual purchasing of the equipment till maybe fall, late winter. People who are doing permanent solutions would probably have an install start in like the fall. I believe LP's install started over the summer. It's probably done by now because Chris Gibson said that they're getting close, and I think PC's is done. It doesn't look anything different than like a regular classroom, other than having several monitors on the wall. They've got like drop down mics from the ceiling. So anybody can be heard within the space. But yeah, I think they also took advantage. Oh, this is a pretty good deal. I think we're gonna see what we can do with it and learn as we go. So, there's lots of, hopeful things, but it's all,
That's good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I ask her a quick question about it? I was curious to know, like you said, 7 schools. Are those the 7 schools you can get instruction from, or did I misunderstand that?
No, but they're great, it's a great way to network. They're just some
Okay.
schools that want in on the grant.
Sure.
And are also, we've been talking like Geneseo. I had a girl reach out to me from Geneseo and said, hey, I heard you were gonna hop in on this grant. I mean, that would be somebody then building a relationship.
Oh,
with that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking like, you had, like, say you wanted to start like a Spanish class for 8th grade. Do we only have like,
Well, we know IBSA for sure will offer it.
okay, that's what I'm saying. And that
That they
would be
will.
offered through the grant then?
No,
That would be,
that's,
okay. All right.
But we could do the algebra teacher here and host it here.
That'd be great. Who is teaching through IDSA? So who are these teachers who are
so they're,
delivering the
yeah,
instruction?
they're just certified teachers who are now being hired by Lake ROE. Lake ROE.
By our or
Lake.
No, Lake,
Lake.
or like in Lake County.
Oh, Lake County.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they acquired IBSA and have sort of done like an overhaul of it, where they're actually hiring actual teachers to deliver the instruction. Meanwhile, also offering like course recovery, credit recovery, homeschooling options. So IBSA offers all of that. I think Izmir, somebody ran it a while ago and it didn't work out so they acquired it and are really trying to change the whole premise behind it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
We are going to close session. We only have one motion afterwards, and that's to appoint Bertha to the board.
Okay.
So, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Can I have a motion to enter into executive session, please?
I'll motion.
At 7:10 p.m. Can I have a second?
I got it. I got
What do you
Matt for first, I got Carol for second. Contact,
Yes.
Riddick,
Yes.
Olson, yes, Gans,
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Yes.
Not yet. Are we good? Who'd you ask for?
Thank you all
Oh, we're
for
good.
coming.
I got everybody.
See you guys. Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry, Jennifer, about,
Oh, you're fine.
you look like your grandfather sitting up there.
Oh.
I'm sitting back there, I can see your dad, your grandpa.
Well, thank you
your
for
dad.
coming tonight. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are doing a great job.
We're trying.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm running for mayor and sad.